Hi everyone, it's Debbie here with another video tutorial. I'm making this tutorial because I had a question on my YouTube channel comments about print and cuts, and I guess some people misunderstand. You don't have to bring images in and auto trace them to make a print and cut. You can actually just place them on a card or anything else and do a print and cut. And another thing is that even when you design in Silhouette Studio, you can also just make it as a print. The print and cut comes in because I have an example here. I just quickly created this little birthday tag to go onto a card. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to show it to you. Let's do this. Okay, and if you see this, I have the words happy birthday, and I drew a little cupcake and have these little scribbles going around here. And if we go over here to our cut style window and we click on this, you can see I have it set up to only the edge here to cut out. This will just print, and so will the little scribbles. So I'm going to go back to fit to page. And we're going to quickly go over this just to show you how easy this was to design. Okay, I'm going to hold down the shift key to draw a perfect circle. There we go. And then clicking on this circle, I'm going to go to my offset button and do an internal offset. And you can just eyeball this to kind of figure out where you would like yours. And I think right there is about fine. Now to make those little scribbles, I didn't scribble them all in. I went to this wonderful little sketch tool here and opened the sketch window, and I selected scribble. And since I probably would want this maybe in a little tighter than that, I'm going to go ahead and just grab that corner and move it inward. There we go. Okay, so now that I have this done, I'm going to go over and change the color to, let's just do this hot pink. Oops, that's a fill color. Let's undo that. Love that undo button. Let's go to our line color, and I'm going to do a hot pink. And now I'm going to go to that line style window because I want this line to print heavier. So I'm going to increase that. We can increase it up as much as we want to, but I think right about there is a nice one for me. So I'm going to select print selected lines. So now I have this all set, and the next thing I would need to do is just go in and draw my little cupcake. So I'm going to draw a square holding down my shift key to get a perfect square. Oops, didn't do that. Okay, let's undo this. I'm going to do the perfect square again. That's what happens when I let off that shift key too fast. Okay. So now I let off my shift key and so I'm double clicking to edit, and this was another question that was asked. How can you edit? You can go over here and click on this icon here to edit the points, or you can just double click on the piece that you want to edit. So I'm going to angle this out a bit. Gotta make my cupcake liner. Okay, then I'm going to draw another long rectangle. And I'm going to move this in here to see about where I want it set. Okay, now I know I want this angled, so here's where that shear tool comes in really handy. And as you can see, if I angle it at negative 15 degrees here, I click on this, then you see what a nice little angle I get. So that makes one side. And then I can just go to my replicate tool and choose mirror right. So I have one on the other side. And the way I'm going to do this one is I'm just going to control and click, move this in a bit, control and click, move this in a bit. And then I should have made these probably a little bit more narrow than I did, but that's okay. I'm going to figure it out here to show you how you can make your own. If I can just get the right one. Select it to move. I'm going to move this one over. Move this one over. And this one over. I'm going to control click this one. And I'm going to go back to that shear tool and do unshear. So that gives me a nice little placement to put right here in the center. And as you can see, I'm going to have to shift these over a little bit more. And when you make your own little things like this, you'll know the things that you have to tweak and the things you have to move around and stuff like that. And we can even zoom in here if we want to. Let's go ahead and do that so you can see it better. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I guess I could move this up just a little there. Okay, now I'm going to control click to make a selection of this because this is going to be my background color. So I've got that. Now selecting all of these pieces by dragging my cursor over it, I'm going to right click and make this a compound path. After I do that, I'm going to fill it with a, let's see, we'll fill it with this lighter pink here. And we'll fill this with the darker pink here. And now we're going to go to our line color, and I'm going to click this, select that line color, click this, and select that to be the line color. I'm going to make sure that this is going to go to the back, so I'm going to go send to back and lay it right under here like this. There we go. Now we need a little top here for our cupcake. So I'm just going to go to the freehand tool. And however you want to make the top to your cupcakes, just fine. I will go in and tweak this by editing some of these points. Okay, so now I double clicked again to edit some of these points. And remember, these little handles can make things more curvy for you. And I'm not going to make this one perfect because, you know, when you get in there, you're going to play around and do your own thing. I'm just going to get the basics done here. So there we go. That's going to be my cupcake top. Of course, maybe I'll bring this up a little bit more. That kind of does. That's one of the fur babies sneezing in the background. I have my mom's 2 dogs and my 2 dogs. My mom's here visiting with me for a while, and it can get noisy around here sometimes. And these little guys that she has love to bark. So far we've been pretty lucky. It's been a quiet little session. Okay, that looks good enough. I think I just fiddle with things too much sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this the Palace pink here. So that's my line color. And a pale pink there. And once again, I'm going to send this to the back. We can just go over here and draw a rectangle. That's going to be our candle. I'm going to go to the pattern fill and find one of these little, how about that polka dotted one? And then the line color, this time I'm just going to pick one of these polka dots to make it the line color. And again, I'm going to send that to the back. Okay, now we'll make a little flame for the top. I'm going to just draw a circle. Click on this, go down to this little point here, and I'm going to say corner. And when we turn this handles in, that's what it'll do. It'll make a point and corner it. Now we can even drag this down, curve this up a little more. I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to corner it. Oop, got to drag a handle. See how you drag that little handle in and it makes a little point here, and then we can drag this up and over to make it look more like a little flame. There we go. And now I'm going to go to my internal offset again. Do an internal offset. And we can make it a little bigger if we want. Oops. well, that's getting all jiggly with me. Let's see. Smooth that down a little bit. Maybe yeah, that looks about good. So I'm going to fill this with a yellow and the line color yellow. And this one here, we're going to fill with a red. That makes my little flame. I'm going to group these together. Bring this up to the top for my little, and we can either leave it at the top if you like it like that, or you can send it to that. I'm just going to leave it at the top. And now to make my little sprinkles, I use this tool right here. It's the round rectangle tool, and you make them real small. And I'm going to go ahead and click and make these different little collars. So we'll go and make this one orange, line color, orange. Well, for this video, I think I'm just going to make them all like a purple, and we'll just fill them with a purple, so this will go a little faster. And then you can just turn them at different angles like this, or you can use your shear tool if you want to do your angles like that. I just prefer to use the little handles and just turn them. And you can make as many of these little sprinkles on your cupcake that you want. Or you can leave the sprinkles off. I'm just trying to make one similar to the one I'd already made. So this looks good enough. We'll just leave it at this here. Okay, now I'm going to go fit to window so you can see what I'm going to do. Move this one out of the way. I'm going to group all of this by selecting, dragging it with my cursor, group it all. Go down here and group selected shapes. There we go. And now I'm going to see how my cupcake's going to fit in here. And it's a little big, so I'm just going to drag this corner up because I want to have room to put a sentiment right there. And now I'm going to draw another circle inside this circle to kind of figure out, just kind of freehand circle. I didn't hold the shift key down because I want to make sure I have enough room to put my happy birthday. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to go over to my type tool, and I have a more ATT selected for my type, and I'm going to type happy birthday exclamation mark, and I'm going to reduce that font down, let's say 24, and I just dragged it right on top of that circle. Here, let me undo this for a second. Show that to you again for those that are new to the software. Okay, here is what I did my font, and actually I think I typed birthday wrong. Let's go in here and zoom in. I know I think it, yep, that's wrong. Okay. Okay, now I have this, and see, it just looks like it's in a square. If I double click on this, I get that little cursor there again, and I just click on that and I drag it down to the circle, and there we go. It starts wrapping, and as I move this circle down, it just kind of changes it around a little bit. And there we go. Now I'm going to click on this. I'm going to right click, make compound path. I'm going to get rid of this circle here because I don't need it. I'm going to fill it with a color, and I'll go ahead and make the line color the same. Fit to window. Bring that right down there. Now we're going to take a look at that cut style window again, and as you can see, everything outlined in red is going to cut, but we just want this to be a tag. So I'm going to go back to Fit to Window. I'm going to select this and hold down my Shift key, select the cupcake, and select my happy birthday word. I'm going to go to the cut style window again, and I'm going to select no cut. Now I can group this all together by dragging my cursor over it. Group. We're going to go back to Fit to Window and a regular view. So now you will see that your little birthday tag is just going to print this part, but it will cut the outer circle. And always make sure before you do your print and cut, go show registration marks. And remember, you can reduce the registration size if you need more space. And I usually put mine at about 10, 10 and a half. And as many of these that will fit in this area inside the red lines and inside these hash marks here is what you will be able to print and cut. And the one thing the Silhouette machines does so well are print cuts. I do a lot of them. And what I would do too, I'm going to ungroup this real quick, because I just like doing things like this. Ungroup. And see this little cupcake here in the center? I'm going to control click, because I like to put layers on there. I like to put those little pop-up dots behind them and put about 3 layers so the cupcake would really pop. So I may do the circles just like this, and then do a whole set of these little cupcakes so I can stick them right on top there to layer them. And here's another one I did. I brought in an image because this question was asked. I'm going to go to Fit to Window. I brought in an image, and this is a little doily that I have, and I just filled it with a color so you can see it better. But as you can see, this is solid, and then I wanted this little fairy to print. So if we go and check our cut lines, our cut style window, you'll see that I have this selected to cut, but I didn't do an auto trace on this little fairy. Now if I go back to Fit to Window, and let's just ungroup this, and I take this little fairy, because like I said, I like layering, and I go and do an auto trace on her. And I'm going to go ahead and blow it up so we can see it better. Okay, do an auto trace, turn off my high pass filter, and increase the threshold. Let's try a low pass on this. That's more than... Sometimes with white areas you can only get so much. So I'm just going to see how this looks, and I'm going to hit trace. And that doesn't look too bad at all. I've got more going around the edge of her hair, but I don't want all that to cut in there anyway. I'm just going to move it off so I can show you. See? And now there's a couple little pieces here or whatever I probably would have. So I'm going to release the compound path, and I'm just going to delete these 2 little dots that are left, because going around her hair is perfectly fine. So I delete that. I move her back over there, right on to... And as you can see, this image isn't great, and that's why it looks, it's kind of pixely, so I would use a better image than this, but I just wanted to do a quick sample. Okay, Fit to Window. And now I group this. So I'm going to group this one again. Say I cut out several of these circles with just a print, and then I would just maybe layer a couple more on top. I'm going to bring this to the front so you can see what I'm talking about. And I would just layer a couple more little berries on top of there. And I also, again, you can put a little sentiment here. If you just wanted to print, you would just go draw a circle there and type your print on there and make sure that you select no cut. That's the most important part, is to remember to select no cut. And always check your cut style window before doing anything, because as you can see, this is going to cut all around these areas, and the circle is going to cut out, but she is not going to be cut out. And if we grab this over here and we look at our little doily, you can see that just these little places are going to cut out. I'm going back to a regular view and place that on top so you can see what it will look like when it's all cut out. So that's what it should look like on your picture. Okay, I hope all of this has helped explain the print and cut and how it can be done. Print and cut doesn't always mean that every image has to be cut. It just means that you can bring in an image and totally not cut it. You can place it directly on a card. Say you're making a card. You can type up your sentiments and place them on your card and just have them print. Because sometimes, you know, some of the fonts that we want to use are pretty delicate and tiny, and they won't cut well anyway. So it's nice to know that we can just put a lovely little sentiment on our cards and print them off, and then add our other embellishments and images and stuff to our cards or scrapbook projects. Well, I hope this has helped explain, and I hope I get a chance to make another video real soon. But as I said, I've got a lot going on here right now. But I always look forward to visiting with all of you, and thank you all for visiting my blog and leaving such very, very kind and sweet comments. You all have a great day. Bye now.